Hey, it is 7 o'clock again on a Tuesday, which is July 26th right now when we are recording this 2022. Welcome to the show, Marketing Made Easy. I am Joey Ragona. It's and you are whoever you are. Thank you for being here live and on the replay. By the way, let us know if you hit hashtag live to let us know you're live, and hashtag replay if you happen to be watching on the replay. It's always weird to say that when I'm actually doing this right now live, but hey, that's what happens when we do these amazing broadcasts out into the world. Nice to have you here. My friend Scott Vogel is in the place to be. Well, let's bring him in here. And we are set up and ready to go to talk about a whole bunch of great marketing stuff today. And I can't wait to share the Dream Client Canvas with everybody today, Scott. And I know you know about it already because you've been working with it in Atlas. And so I wanted to share this with the world. Thought this would be a really cool thing to share now that you're inside Atlas and get your insights on all the components of how it all comes together to help us draw in or get the interest of dream clients. So are you ready?
Yes.
Like that, you say that so robotically. Yes. Yes.
I am ready, Joey, to traverse the dream client canvas and see what unpacks from your zone of genius here, because I've come to realize in the last few weeks a depth and a height and a level of what this dream client is all about that is, I believe, unimaginable. Actually, it is to where it's going into a whole new dimension, I think, when you actually get engaged to and with a dream client, and it fills up your bucket like nothing. And the amazing thing is they are out there looking for you.
Yeah.
They are. I can't believe you've heard it many times. I've been looking and finally I found you. I've checked everybody else out. Finally, I found. They are. And you could tell somebody that until they get on with a dream client that says that. I've been looking for you. I've talked to all different people. You're it. I know you had a post, and this kind of goes to it. You were responding to one of the Atlas members and Strategic Heart-Centered Marketing Club. You could join us in the group if you're not. You'll put the link up, I'm sure, Joey.
Thank you.
Talking about such the importance of staying so focused and true to the dream client. And what we're probably going to talk about here, what we are going to talk about here is the pieces of the canvas and not wavering from it. So with that, go for it. Dream Client Canvas, Joey Ragona, Tuesday, July 26th, episode something or other.
130, by the way. Thank you for bringing that up. My gosh, I thought I messed it up last week because I didn't rename, like I usually duplicate the notes anyway. So, and I forgot to change the number on 2 weeks ago, and it was like the same number. And then last week I was, as we always do, what are we going to talk about today? And then I, so then I duplicated the note, and then I'm like, what number is this? Is it 128 or 129? Luckily, I guessed right. So yeah, we're at 130 today. I double checked just before today.
My friend, congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations to you.
And thank you. And it just, again, for somebody watching for the first time or somebody catches this episode, or you and I started a few years ago just kind of hanging out and chatting with each other. And then one day you invited me to come do this, and we just kept doing it.
We just kept doing it. Yeah.
That we kept doing it. We showed up every Tuesday night, and what are we going to talk about? Well, marketing, mindset, strategy, systems, anything related to what's working, what's anti, what's up on your left shoulder, what's different that actually makes entrepreneurial life online a true dream.
Yeah, for sure, and man.
It really is, Joey. And yeah, there's hundreds of other ways to be disconnected from the show, but maybe it's not.
You must have lost your train of thought there for some.
Actually, no, what happened was the technology all of a sudden just decided to go. And I was looking at
It's the fancy producer stuff right over here, right? All this stuff happening.
user stuff, all the
All
right.
right, so let's talk about the Dream Client Canvas. Show everybody what we're talking about here, and then we'll walk through it. Just want to say hi to Lorna, who is here live with us now. Thank you for being here, Lorna. Good to see you, Camilla. I haven't seen you in a long time. Nice to see you, and I know that it's a little late in Sweden. What time is it, by the way, in Sweden right now? But good to see you here. Thank you for being here. And Dan the man is here as well. Good to see you as well. You're here almost every week. These are great supporters. And for you who are not yet saying anything in the chat, we're glad you're here as well. Thank you for being here. All right, let's get to this. Let's share this thing here.
Lost my train of thought before. Totally gone.
This is the Dream Client Canvas, and there are a couple of pieces to it. We'll explain this, how it goes. And you know that when I talk about the transformation, there's a lot of different ways that people describe what you do for people. There's the transformation, which is, I guess, the most popular one. What is the transformation that you help people do? This is still the same thing. And I call it the crisis that people are in, which is their biggest problem, something that they can no longer deal with. It's not just a little bit of a pain. They're like, well, it doesn't really bother me that much. No, this has to be a crisis that they must stop this crisis right now. That's why I'm using like strong language in the canvas like that way. And then the oasis, which is the complete opposite. So imagine going from a crisis to an oasis. Like, to me, that's a huge transformation rather than just, well, I've got this kind of problem and yeah, I fixed it now. It's kind of good, right? Like, let's stop there and get your thoughts on those two main points of the canvas.
Thank you, Joey. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Crisis has to be a desperate problem, a crisis situation, something that is really making them uncomfortable. And the antithesis, the other side of it, is the oasis that has to be. That's exactly what my dream looks like. It is that oasis. It is what everybody's dream is. And just conceptually, when we find out our dream client's true crisis, and we can then tell them what the oasis is, what it looks like in the future, and more importantly, what you just brought up recently that's changed my way is, how can you help them feel what it feel like to be on the oasis? They know. If I say, are you struggling and anxious and nervous? They're like, yeah, I get that. I'm there. I'm living it. When they get to the oasis, it's nothing they can fathom yet. They can only equate it to movies and pictures and stories because they haven't lived it yet. And part of our jobs in this, I believe, is to help them kind of imagine, instead of just the future casting imagine, but really, what does it feel like when you're there? And so two pieces, again, going to the basics. People either want to avoid pain or pursue pleasure. That's it. That's what life's about. And here is the avoidance of pain, and the oasis is the pursuit of pleasure. And how do we get them from that one to that one?
Right. And in my mind, the way that, well, by working with all these people over the last few years and looking at their problem, the thing that they're solving or the challenges, whatever, I've seen way too many. This is not something I'm willing to pay for. Not the person I'm speaking to, but the people who they're marketing to, because it's not a crisis in their life. Like, they don't know what the crisis is. It's like, and that's the biggest point of this.
Yeah, they're trying to sell them a thing rather than taking them from the crisis to the oasis.
Well, I still think they're trying to get them somewhere. Like, they're still using a transformation. You're here, I'm going to get you there. This is how it's going to feel. But it's the point of, well, what are you actually solving for somebody? And it's not painful enough for somebody. I've had multiple conversations with people who even want to do work with me or programs or whatever, and the pain is just not big enough for them yet. And
Mhm.
they could talk all they want about like what they want and the stuff going on in their life, but they haven't reached the crisis point yet. Unfortunately, that's that's basically where it all begins. Is what is the thing that's going to get you out of bed, and changing the way that you do things, even though it's painful to do it sometimes, so that you can look at the oasis. I believe that pain is a bigger motivator than the oasis, because pain gets you out, and the oasis is like, that's really cool if I could get there, um but it's too painful where I am right now, or it's too painful for me to make any moves to get to the oasis.
I fully agree that pain is the stronger motivator. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You know, you'll be like, oh, you can improve your life. You can get better. You can get quality. You can, oh, that's okay. Kind of everything's pretty okay. Yeah, I maybe want to get in shape a little more or lose a little more weight or make a little more money. But you know what? I'm kind of okay. As opposed to, holy crap, you know, somebody just asked me to go take a walk and I couldn't breathe and I felt like I was going to die, like I was going to have a heart attack, and they laughed at me, and I was like, I got to do something about this now, or I'm going to be dead. That's kind of a little crisis.
Yeah,
So
it's a completely different motivator, and
yeah,
we're not talking about always having negative or hard hitting copy. Like, you could use a lot of that stuff. We're still looking at, imagine if you could have this, but you still need the motivator of the pain, in my mind, because that's, again, this is a crisis. You have to fix this right now, or it's going to get not only worse, but it's like when we talk about it in Atlas, one of the analogies I give is the mosquito bite over the shark bite, right? If you have a shark, like a mosquito bite, it's just annoying. And if you're at a party or something and you're kind of itching, you're like, I'm not going to get up and go to the store just to get some stuff to make this stop itching. You're just going to itch it, right? You're going to scratch it. You're like, I'll just deal with this. It's still a pain. It's still annoying, but it's not a big enough motivator for you to go out and go to the whatever, the guru or the person selling the solution, to say, I need this right now. A shark bite is completely different. You get a shark bite, that's life threatening, and you better get your butt to the hospital.
years ago, I was like on a long speaking circuit, and I was flying in and out for a week. I'd fly home for the weekend and go back out. One day, it was a Friday evening. I came home and one of my teeth had chipped, and it was razor sharp, literally. And the last day it happened, while I was out speaking, I spoke like 8 hours with my tongue being cut up.
Yeah.
And I got home and I was like, I need a dentist. And this Yellow Pages back then was like, I didn't go looking for economy dentists. I was like, I need a dentist now that's open, that can take me out of my pain, because I was heading back out in 2 days and there was no way I could do it. I had called my dentist. It was on vacation somewhere in the Caribbean. And I was like, so I had to go to the Yellow Pages. Another marketing thing is, I didn't go look for economy dentists. I needed help right then to get out of the pain. It wasn't like, my tooth hurts a little bit, no big deal. And then that's, to me, the same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I like to use is, I didn't care. I would do anything at that moment because I couldn't talk without being in pain and ripping my tongue open.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy, and it's true. That's what that's the thing, that we're not taking advantage of somebody in this case, where that
No.
happens too, but we're not talking about this. But we are talking about people who, the dream clients, that's why they're dream clients, is because they are no longer willing to put up with the pain, and they're willing and able to pay for the solution and work with you. That's the whole idea. Like, and our expertise is in the crisis. We can help you get out of that crisis. Just like I help people, whatever, transfer from one-on-one coaching to group coaching or whatever, make it a little bit easier with their time and buy back all their energy and all that stuff. Like, I can help them fix that. I can help them solve their problem when they try to sell a product that doesn't work, and I can fix it. So I can fix that pain, but they have to get to the pain where this is no longer, I'm no longer willing to put up with this. And they're and so that's my market, and same as yours, which is like I'm no longer willing to keep paying for something maybe for, and I'm not getting opt-ins, or I'm not getting people who are converting into so I can
Yeah,
sell my program.
right.
But it's like, well, so the crisis has to be strong enough for someone to say, I need you and I need you now. And our
Mhm.
job is not to take advantage of those people, but it's just to make sure that our message gets to those people who understand that they're in the crisis and we have the right solution.
And that's where, Joey, you've got the promise, the pain, the problem, and the people in looking at those four to be able to serve them in a way. And of course, I like it the top job to be done. What is the job that they're hiring us to do? You speak so well about that in Atlas. What is the job that we have to do? Well, the job is to take away the pain, solve the problem, with the promise that we're going to make. And if we can do that job, then they hire us and they're happy because we take it from the crisis to the oasis with all this. And it just becomes clearer as that's all the focus is, not 8,000 different things. What's the one problem they're having and what's the pain that's causing them to be totally uncomfortable in a crisis that they need the oasis? What promise am I going to make that takes the pain away, solves the problem? It's a pretty succinct and powerful little model you have here, canvas.
Thanks, man. Well, let's dive into all the pieces individually. And so, Dan, thank you very much. You've gotten so much value, or so much further along in the marketing strategy since you joined me. Thank you, the tribe in Kajabi. I'm grateful for all the guidance and knowledge I've received. If you are struggling with your marketing effort, do yourself a favor and follow Join the Scumbag Ragona. I was talking about this today, and I couldn't remember the word that Jeff said. It's scumbag, but that's the one. That's the word. Join no Scumbag Ragona. Thank you, Lorna, for that as well. I think you're dittoing what Dan said. Appreciate that.
And for anybody watching this for the first time or on a replay, there was a testimonial that was given by one of Joey's amazing tribe members from Atlas, who said why he decided to work with Joey was because he wasn't a scumbag. And the crisis in that guy's life was he would hire people that turned out to be scumbags.
Right.
That was the crisis. When he came to Joe and he was like, "You're not a scumbag." Well, that's not quite the oasis, but you did take him there because you weren't a scumbag. I just thought I would, for somebody who's like, what are we talking about scumbags
Yeah,
for?
thank you.
Continue on, Joey.
I put the if you want to watch that short little testimonial, it's not really a testimonial, but it's more of a statement. And it's on my page right there. It's just scroll down to the middle section and you'll see Jeff. He's on the left-hand side. It's pretty funny. Makes me laugh every time I listen to that. Thanks for bringing that up, Scott.
Joey, which page? If YouTube, Twitter, Facebook?
It's
LinkedIn?
on my homepage. I just put it into the chat.
Oh, I'm in the other chat room somewhere else in space. One
I just
day
put it into the chat.
Be everywhere.
All right, let's get back to this. The people is the most important thing that drives this canvas home, because I don't know how many times I've said this again over and over, and I'll continue to say it, and I don't get bored of it. But it is the driver of everything. It's the who, and it's the right who. And if you're not speaking to the right who, and I'm not talking just about a typical avatar that I've just grown to know and love. When I first heard her from Eben back in, I don't know, 2012 or something, and I just totally gravitated to that. Taught it for so many, many years until about, I don't know, 4 years ago, when I just said, there's a deeper thing here. And that's where the dream client, I guess, came to be, not from me, but just diving into it a little bit, or did a little bit more. And then figuring out that it is about the specific who, going deeper. And you just had, you mentioned this at the top of the hour, which was the feeling of having a dream client. And I'm glad you validated this, first of all, but I'm also glad that you said it, because I'm always trying to give better analogies, or more analogies, or more perspectives on what a dream client really is. And there comes a point where, like you said, you can't really know what it is until you experience it. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I can. Would you like me to?
Camera's on you, buddy. You're in one of
Okay.
these sarcastic moods today.
Yeah, we should ring the sarcasm bell. I am. It's just been one of those days where I've kind of decided that if I'm going to have dream clients, then it's the dream life and you just start living it. You make the changes that you need to do to enjoy it. And today was one of those kind of days I was enjoying it and relishing in being in the world with dream clients and understanding now that this whole new continuum, this vortex has opened up, because the realization is when you find that dream client, it's you're so in joy, happiness, and bliss state when you're engaging with them, because it just fills you up and it gives you juice, like Tony Robbins says. And that's all you want to do is and you get to help them and serve them and transform them, because they are the ones that need you the most. And when you do that, it's more satisfying, more gratifying than finishing copy or a project or that, because that's a superpower. But when you have your superpower that's fully engaged with a dream client and you discover that it's a feeling deep emotionally, spiritually, that just satisfies the soul and the being, because it's so right. You're so aligned and they're looking for you. And all of a sudden, because of what you do, your prefluence and your omnipresence, you're there. They need you. They want you. And all of this other, and the flow is smooth. And you don't have to say, would you like an offer? They're like, so how do we do this? And what do we do next? And, this, and it's, you want to do it or not. And I don't mean coming from that frame, but look, I really, it would be joyous to engage with you on a regular basis.
How
And
do you
then
know if it's a dream client for you now? Like, what's the difference between all of the conversations you've had up to now, and now with having with your dream client that you've experienced?
most of all the other clients' projects were fun. They were exciting. I loved it. It was my superpowers, whether it being, the speaking, the training, the consulting, the programs. It was exhilarating for me to deliver it and leverage my superpowers in a good way and serve people and help people. It's kind of like a lot of people, and then one day you fall in love, and your heart is just consumed with this massive amounts of joy and love and happiness and ecstasy. It's kind of the same thing, Joey,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it is such a powerful, intense connection. And it goes to, for me, the Dream Island is a yoga resort, integrative, holistic, organic wellness yoga resort, where people come and hang out. And from years ago, I wanted that. And then it's like, well, who would I want there hanging out with me and teaching and helping and healing? I was like, all these people. And what if they paid me? Holy crap. So
Right, exactly.
it is mind boggling, because
But
it's
this
like,
doesn't have, like, you and I, we have this sense or this superpower as well of judging people. Not on a, like, I mean, we can sense a lot of energies, right? And that's what I mean by judging, not by saying that he's not good or whatever. But we know what's happening within seconds by listening to people, right?
yeah,
That's a superpower. But
oh yeah,
and I've known that, and I thought until you said this, that, because here's the difference. Like, for me, when I speak to somebody, even sometimes even through a chat, I can see it or feel it. Feeling is the better way to describe it.
yeah.
I know right away. Like, my internal body tells me, it's just, this person is right, this person is wrong. And I just thought that was my natural instinct and intuition and superpower. And then you started saying more stuff. And I'm like, maybe there's something more to this. And what you just said is brilliant, because it is like love. It's like that's why I keep saying you have to love your clients. And when people say, like, you're on crack, like, what are you talking about? Love your clients.
Yeah.
And you just brought it up, and like, that's the truth. It does feel like love when you just like somebody and all of a sudden you just love somebody. It's a completely different feeling. and you know it right away. You don't have to be a superpower at it.
When you find the people that you love, that you want to be part of your tribe, and you know my tribe, everybody knows my tribe. My tribe is my yoga community here. And I love all those people. And they're healers, and that's my world. Well, guess what? Those are the people who are your dream clients. And when you're with them, there's just love, and it's everybody's helping each other spiral up because we're all on the same journey together. Seth Godin, they enrolled in me. Your peeps enrolled in you. And then we guide them, insight, intuition. And it is, Joey, about knowing. There is a piece of this with being an empath and an intuit, knowing, and that's part of our superpowers, whatever we want to call it, to be able to do that. With a dream client, though, it's so natural and it's so easy. Like you said, even the conversations, there's nothing in your mind where you're thinking, well, when can I move the conversation to the pitch, the close, the thingy?
Yeah.
It just, and I'm going to share it in another piece because it came out of the other day. I had a call and I went and I took a look at the notes because I was like, I didn't use this question in what's the job to be done in the job hunt piece.
Yep.
Went back to it and I said, what does your dream life need to look like after we engage for the next 8 weeks? And she's like, well, that's the question I had for you. And I was like, well, I know the answer, and the answer is this. And it was the exact answer because she had told me in different ways, but until I asked it that way. And at the end of it, that was the oasis. And so when you find it, they tell you if you ask the right questions. And from that period on, that's exactly what I wanted. Exactly.
Right.
And yet I want to do this. And that's what this is all about, Joey. This isn't about any hocus pocusness.
No.
I'll leave it at that for all the stuff we've talked about and will continue to talk about that makes it so ooky and difficult and uncomfortable to really be online and serve the world in the truest way. Go.
Yeah. Lorna says, what we must do is what the dream client believes is the shark bite. Sometimes we know what the shark bite is and want to solve that bite, but they don't think it's a shark bite. They don't. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right. If that's the reason why we're showing this dream client canvas, is because sometimes, or a lot of times, I've been in this boat so many times where I believed I know what the problem is, and I'm marketing that or whatever, and nobody is biting.
Well, Joey, I think what I like to jump in here about Lorna's is, it's like if I said to you, "Hey, Joey, I think you got a shark bite," you'd be like, "No, I don't. I'm fine. No, I don't." Until you say, "Oops, wait, I got a shark bite."
Right.
I think that saying is because we know what the shark bite is, and we tell them that, but they might not even know.
Yeah, but sometimes it's the wrong one too. I've seen that a billion times, and I've done it a billion times myself.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Right? Is like you're going after the wrong thing because they're not ready to fix that crisis.
No.
And that's why the questions are so simple. Like, what are you struggling with? What's going on? And it's like you're having conversations, and this is where, and I'll get into this maybe later, like, because I have this conversation come up a lot too, is how can you have so many conversations? Like, how do you scale this thing? And you're only speaking to a couple people at a time or one person or whatever. And, I thought about it, and maybe I'll get into it now. I thought about this and I still haven't formulated how this is going to work, because I want to talk about this with everyone in Atlas as well. I'm just trying to formulate how I want to teach it, but it's more about the conversations.
It's right on topic. Go for it. Jump into it.
It's basically around the conversations of, having conversations with individuals, and how many relationships can you actually have that are personalized relationships, right? You can't, it's going to be really difficult to have thousands of relationships personally, like in the stuff that we're doing, right? Like having chats and all this. It's impossible. And so the whole idea is if you had 100 conversations or 100 relationships per year, that's manageable, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Totally and completely. Yeah.
Okay. So then if you have 100, and then again, this is just, I'm just brainstorming. I have no idea if this is going to make any sense at all. I'm trying to make sense of this. Is you've also heard of the 1,000, have 1,000 fans,
Right.
and that's all you need. Well, if you follow this, what we're talking about here, and have 100 amazing conversations, quote unquote, AKA dream clients per year, and they're amazing. That gives you 10 years, if my math is right, to build to 1,000 of those relationships that you've done over time, 1 year at a time, right? And that community that builds over that 10 years is like epic. And like you can only imagine that if you had 100 amazing clients in your world just for that 1 year, and it kind of builds over time in 10 years, what that community would look like. And then you look at, well, now what's the next stage of scaling, or whatever you want to look at it. And that's kind of where my brain is at. I don't know if you have any insight on that or some thought, but that's kind of where I'm going with this.
Well, I like what you said, Joey, is 1,000 fans. I don't know what to do with 1,000 fans unless they're going to hang out in the stadium with me from time to time. With 100 close people that I'm transforming lives, engaging with them and interacting and moving them upwards and upwards and upwards with guidance and insight, why would I want to mess with more than that? And as you said, each year, and as they escalate and elevate, they need to go higher, and you're going higher, and you need to take them there. And they've enrolled, and you tell them what to do. You need to take this course next. You need to do this step next. You need to invest in this next, because that's how this thing works. You go to college, you get your associate's degree. If you want a bachelor's, you got to go pay more money, and a master's and pay more money, and a PhD, and on and on and on and on to get the education. Here, you don't pay nearly as much for that, but whatever you're doing, or maybe it is. And over time, we look at guys like Joe Polish from Genius Network, who started as a carpet cleaner and somehow wrangled Dan Kennedy to drive around in a van with him one day. And he learned from Dan Kennedy, and he soaked all it up. And now he's got, the Genius Network, and people pay 25 grand a year. How many people do you need to pay you $25,000 a year? Down the road, of course. But even now, if 100 people at whatever it is, you do your own math. 100's easy. Whether it's 1,000, it's 100,000, or 2,000 is 200,000, or over time, people paying you 5, 10, 15, 20,000 a year over time.
Yeah, the whole thing is that those 100 people, this is where, the idea of this is still so brand new to so many people online, because they're so fed this other, just bring 1,000 people in, get your 3% out and whatever, and thinking that engaging with people and having the conversation to get this, like to get that dream client on the bottom, like it's a lot of work. Well, I disagree. Like it's so much easier to have a conversation with someone who's willing and able to pay you, like you said, 1,000 or 2,000, as it is to try and get 10 or 15 or 20 or 100 of those people paying you $7 or $97 or whatever it is, and then just trying to continually build that way. But the point of this is that because you're looking for dream clients, and like you said, because you love them, yes, love them, they are your friends, they are people that you would hang out with, then the lifetime value thing comes all into play, because you're not there just to get, they're not a transaction. They're not a transaction. They are part of your life, and you're helping them on their journey. So the journey may continue with you, or it may pause for a year or two while they do something else on the journey. But the oasis, there's different pieces of that oasis, and they're going to come back into your life most of the time because of the bond relationship and all that you've built with them over time, and it makes it so much easier to build the business that way if you have the right who.
And Joey, excellent points, and thank you for all of this. And one of the pieces that I want to jump on here is, as you said, I might be engaging with somebody and then be like, you need to go hang out with Joey if you go through Atlas. Or you might say, hey, you need to go do this, or you need to go here, and then come back once you figured out that piece, because that's his piece. And then come back and let's do X, Y, and Z. Or maybe you'll find there. Or you should go take this thing. It's the same thing as you should go read this book.
Yeah.
It's no different. So the book's $8, $10, $20. Well, engaging with someone of their programs, maybe a couple of thousand or whatever it is to get what they need, because that's why everyone has their own superpowers. And I don't want to mess with other people's superpowers when theirs are so much better than mine. It goes back to, why would I waste time trying to do? I visited some friends who had to come back to their business after going into their dream life. And I heard her say, I'm saying yes to everything. And I heard that, and it was like, oh my God. I was away in the mountains for the weekend. I'm just going to share this with you, bro. And I got a message from a former client that pays me well when I engage with that client. And they wanted to meet for dinner. And I know what that means. Meet for dinner. We talk where they're at and this, and then we end up figuring out what's the next engagement. And I was in the mountains, and I took a quick peek, and I was like, I'm in the mountains. I'll respond. I don't need to figure out. I don't want to. And then the realization and meditating on the deck was because I was actually watching a video from my dream client who made a video for me. And I was like, why would I want to engage with that client when there's not anything even close to what the dream client experiences?
Right.
Dream client experience, that's powerful.
Yeah. I've already got that, by the way, the URL.
I thought I had it.
No, there's a book coming out called The Dream Client Experience. Guess who it's by?
You.
And we didn't even talk about that. That wasn't even seated. See that? We're thinking along the same lines.
I registered dream client experience, so that's it. You have the. I took the off.
Okay. So I don't know who this is, but thank you. You're right. Those are meaningful connections that turn into amazing relationships. Yes, always. It's always about the relationship. And there, it's funny. Like, there's an opportunity. If you're listening to this right now and you think, what are these guys talking about? Like, let's just sell as many things as we can. You're missing out. Like, you're missing out not only on the new model of business, but it's also, like you said at the beginning, that you're just in bliss. Like, it's a completely different way of doing business. But there is if you look at, give this example on my private call on Monday. What was it? It was about, okay, like, again, going back to transactions. If I asked you right now, what was the last thing that you bought on Amazon, right? Could you tell me?
Yes.
Well, how can you tell me?
Because it was a few days ago.
Okay, well, what about a couple months ago?
I mean, I got stuff that I bought that's right here that I could tell you.
Well, the reason what I'm probing for here is that you could go to Amazon and just click on it and say, "Here's what I bought."
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
So, like, they know what you bought, how you bought it, all that stuff, and they got all this data on you, and customize the experience for you. That's why you got, here's what's suggesting for you. This is what other people bought. All this other kind of stuff, right? And they're taking time. Like Jeff Bezos was about customer first. It's about the customer. It's not about us selling stuff.
Right.
Walmart, on the other hand, they're changing their model now, but up to this point, they've been product based. It's like, how much stuff can we sell? And when you go through the cash register, you're done. Like, you're out the door. They have no idea who you are, what you bought, or whatever. They don't have any data on you. And I'm not talking about data here, but I'm just making a point. They have no idea who you are and why, and making the customer experience better for you. Whereas an Amazon, a Netflix, that kind of thing, are making the customer experience very customized and specific.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about. Like, and if you're listening to this right now, this is the mindset that I employ you to adopt: is how do you make your customer experience? And I'm not talking about just a customer journey and here's the onboarding process and all these other kind of things. I'm talking about individually knowing. That's why I'm talking about relationships. That's why we're talking about the bottom, the people, the dream client. Who are people that you want to spend the rest of your life with on a deserted island that you know everything about? It's like I always joke with my wife in the old town in Italy where there's like 50 people in the town and everybody knows everybody's business, right? It's like that's just the way it is. And that's kind of what this is about. Is like, you know, so much about your dream clients and they all know each other and the community builds and grows together. And to me, that is an amazing place to live inside your own life as a dream life and a dream business. But how do you do that? You do that by caring so much about the people that you want to help. And go back to the canvas for a second, going back to what is the problem that they have, that collectively have, that I know that I could solve with my eyes closed, but they need it so bad. Like it, and this is again not taking advantage of people. It's actually relieving them of something that nobody else could relieve them from.
Joey, I want to make a point here
Go ahead.
that nobody else could relieve them of. It's vitally important that when we're stating the problem and the pain, that it's not generic. It can't just be, are you frustrated and struggling and anxious and nervous? This is specifically, that's what you're saying. You know them so well. You know exactly what the specific problem is that only you can solve.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Is and that's why we talk about, well, okay, so if you were on a deserted island or you went out to dinner or all your dream clients came over for dinner, and like, what is the conversation that's going on? Then it may not come to you right away. It may not be like, well, I don't know what kind of business to run, because, well, the more conversations you have, the more things emerge from those conversations collectively. And you say, wait a minute, I hear this a lot and I'm really good at that. Would you guys want me to help you out with that? And because it's a completely different offer thingy,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I'm talking about.
It's not an offer thingy, because you said it beautifully, Joey. It's like if we were just hanging out and they were like, God, this is this. Oh yeah, that. Oh, hey, what if I could help you with that? Like, okay, yeah, we already love you and know you. You could help us with that. Great. How can you help us with that? Okay, here's what you're going to do. Okay, great. And here's what the investment is, or however you want. And they're like, okay, great. Yeah, because that's what you do. It's so spot on.
Thank you. Amazon practice the attitude of people over profits. They do. It's always about people. So like, this is what it's for you as well, is how do you make the customer feel like a human being, not just a transaction, not just a number. And this is beyond, again, the customer journey thingy, which is totally cool. I'm not dissing that at all. That's great. But above and beyond, like, what is it that you are going to do to make that customer feel as though they are a part of your life and they matter to you, not that they matter just to your bank account? And you can only do that if you have a limited or a smaller amount of relationships that you can engage in. And your circle of friends, that's what this is about. And those circle of friends are dream clients who actually pay you. But it's your job, or our job, I believe it's our job, to totally give a crap about these people. Like, totally amazingly, how can I help you? And not about the money. Like, that's completely different. That's like, it comes into play. That's different. We are talking about the business, but at this point of the canvas, who are the people? And that's what we talk about in the bottom. If you can see that, where we talk about the DNA. It's the DNA, it's the makeup of the person. It's the person that you want to deal with. Um, Characteristics, behaviors, moral values, habits, things like that. Not they drive this car, they make $100,000. All that can be in play. All of it can be there. But the depth of this goes into who are they as a person? Do I want this person in my life? Do they irritate me to a point where I just can't stand them? But hey, they're paying me $100,000, so I'll put up with it. Dude, I
Exactly.
don't want to be in that kind of a business.
You brilliantly said at that point in time. And I'm going to go back to Joey. I told you years back when I was speaking to a lot of hotels, and I remember in the hallway between one of my sessions, I was talking to the general manager and the food and beverage director, and they're straightening the curtain and this and the lamp, and picked up a piece of paper, and I'm watching guests go by. And I'm like, what about the experience? And it is all about the experience. And I got to play and interact with people in hundreds of hotels and just send people out and train them to go interact and experience it. I had something on the whiteboard. I rewrote it today. And I don't know, I write stuff up and then it's like, I didn't know I said that. We get high from connecting with human beings. And we really do. And
Yeah.
the technology is what we need to do to be a better job of creating that experience till they get to us.
Yeah.
And then get to us and like you blow them away when they get into Atlas, when they're on a VIP call, when you get better and better and you add more. And at the end of the day, I used to say everything is a funnel. Now I think everything's an experience.
Right, exactly.
It's that I talk about the first part of it, the flirt is what is that one thing we do first, and then I take it to a cup of tea, and then to me the first date is where they like said, okay, I'm willing to invest in something, whatever it is, but it's about the experience. How do we not be? There was a post that you and I saw recently, and it was about, and somebody said in the post, you have to get on and sell and there's more, like the guy on the commercials on late.
Yeah. Billy Mays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the value stack. And then one of the things that really, like, both of us were just pretty aghast at was you have to twist their arm in order for them to buy. And you're doing them a service. And I'm like, just the visualization of me, I'm going to twist your arm and convince you that you need to give me money.
Oh God.
It would
No
be
way.
I was on a call the other day and it was like, I'm honored to engage with you. And they're like, I'm honored to engage with you and to pay you to help me. There's no, well, when does the offer come in and when does the close happen and all that stuff in sales that was taught. All good stuff, mind you, and I've used it and played with it. We all have. But then when you just like get to this point and it just flows easily and effortlessly, and yeah, can I read Collies?
Definitely.
So awesome to be here. Hashtag live with Scott and Joey and everyone in the tribe. Such a great way to spend Tuesday evenings. Learning from masters, love and soul hugs. Well, actually, it's all of you that we learn from because we get to take this stuff that we're blessed. I'm blessed to pull this stuff from wherever we pull it from, share it together with each other, and then whatever it turns into gets to others. And then we go further and they go further and we all go further.
Yep.
And the more the dream client unfolds out there, and it's about the dream life too, Joey, because I lived a nightmare life for 2 years and just continued to have to, you got to keep launching stuff instead of, well, what if you had those 100 dream clients and this? You don't have to go crazy and you look forward to it. You're excited. You can't wait to hang out with them. I mean, if there's anybody that you're engaging with that you don't say to yourself, gosh, I can't wait till Friday at 2:00 comes when I'm going to meet with so-and-so or get on my mastermind or my group call or whatever it is, then there's something wrong.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you for saying that. You're right. Something is wrong if you don't want to jump out of bed to get started with the day so you could meet with your dream clients, not because they're paying you, but because there's just an awesome conversation that happens. And you know me with Atlas, like it's very hard for me to press that end button. The call's over. Like I just wanted to go over and over and over. Like it's just so hard for me because I just love them so much because they're just an awesome people. And that's in all the programs that I do, all the dream clients. And thank you, Lorna. You are one of my dream clients. So thank you for being one of my dream clients. And I want to just finish off this canvas so we can, if you have any questions, by the way, of what we're talking about, please put them in the chat and we can answer them, or maybe some clarity or questions around what we're talking about here.
Can I say something here?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I just, this came to me as you were talking, and I want to make this really clear to somebody that's watching this new, or to the dream client canvas, or the whole dream client experience. When you're defining your dream client and doing all that, you probably have to have at some point that they can afford to pay you. But that should not be the qualification that they can pay you. That has to be at the end, that they fill in all the blanks, check out all the boxes. Oh, and by the way,
right.
It's not first. Well, the dream client to me is somebody that can pay me $100,000.
Yeah.
No.
So brilliant.
Thank you. You inspired it. So
yeah, thank you for saying that, because you're absolutely right. That is a by the way checkbox. Oh, by the way, they're able and willing to pay me because they match all these other things. So brilliant, man. Let's talk a little bit about the pain, because this one is a tricky one, because isn't pain and problem the same? And that's the question that I get. So is pain the same as problem?
No.
So how do you describe that?
How I describe it is, the problem is the thing that's going on in their lives, the situation that's happening, the specific thing that I can take a picture of, that they can explain to me exactly what happened. Last time I did this, all these crappy things happened. Okay? To me, the pain is the emotions, the feelings. As a human being, what are they experiencing that's causing them that angst, that the problem is causing? You drop, somebody puts a 50-pound weight on your foot. The 50-pound weight's the problem. The pain is what it's doing to you and how your body is reacting. It's how we react emotionally. It's how we react.
Okay, using that analogy, I'm going to jump in here.
Good.
The pain, that's a physical pain. That's not what we're talking about. The pain in that case, if using your 50-pound thing just crushed my foot, the pain is like, I can't go to work because I got to be off work and I'm going to miss paying my bills. Like, that's the pain. There's a hidden thing. But the pain is like, holy crap, this just crushed my foot. That's a problem. Now I got to go and wait an emergency and all these other kind of things. I got to get a cast on. That's a problem. And that's where you as a person might go, hey, I can fix your problem because I have the best casts in the world. I can get you in and out of emergency fast. But that's not the real pain. Like, that's not the thing. You're fixing that, but you also have to fix the pain that's associated with it.
With our disability insurance policy, you'll never have to worry if somebody drops your foot. You don't have to worry about not paying your bills. You don't have to go to work. You'll actually have a free vacation. So drop a 50-pound weight on your foot, and we'll pay you $5,000 a week.
I'll give another analogy of this for the pain. The problem is that my dog bites everybody. When I take out my dog, she just bites everybody.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Right.
But the hidden pain behind that could be that, well, I'm so afraid that if I take my dog out and she bites the wrong person, that person is going to call the Humane Society and my dog would be put down. Yep. But they don't talk about that. What they talk about is my dog bites everybody. And so if you understand the pain, the deeper pain, and can describe those pains, they will automatically, subconsciously understand and know that you know what the solution is a lot easier. I messed that up from Wide Wood Small, but that's basically the whole concept of that. So this is where we dig deeper into what really is the pain going on. Another pain in that, just let me finish the thought for 1 second, on the dog, just to give, you had that's listening, is another analogy of this. Like, let's say again, your dog jumps up and bites everybody or whatever, and you can't have your friends over to your house, and you love doing that, but because the dog bites everybody, you can't have that anymore, and that's a pain. But you don't talk about that. You talk about my dog is just biting everybody.
Right. And by the way, Joey, that's what I was about to, because I've heard this, I was about to say, and that.
Oh, and
When
the having people over. Okay.
right, because that is, it's like, I'm ashamed and embarrassed to be around my friends because I can't hang out with them because of this and that and that. And again, that's the piece that we're going back to in the pain is that's the emotions. It's not the situational thing. It's what is it causing? It's like when we go to the
Yeah.
benefit, it's like the opposite way. And same thing is, okay, so you have this problem. And so as a result of having that problem, what's going on? And which means what? And there's where we can go deeper as well. It's just like, whatever that ultimate pain is.
Yeah, and like this is the piece of marketing that I find a lot of people miss is this pain piece, the true pain piece. We talk a lot about the problem and then we jump to the promise. Nothing wrong with that, but in this work, the deeper work is, well, if I can actually tap into the pain as well, then the promise is easier because we could, if a general marketing promise or whatever is like, you got this problem, here's the solution. Whereas if you've got this problem and this pain or this that's causing this pain in your life, here's what the solution is. So really what the promise is a combination of the pain and the problem together. But you need to figure out or understand what those two major pieces are. What is the problem, the surface level problem? I call it surface level that people talk about. And what is the real pain that's happening? Get those two figured out on your dream client, who your dream client is, and the promise is super, super simple. And you see this being done when we ask the job hunt questions too, like because they're bringing that stuff right out.
It again, Joey, going back to earlier, how can you have? I want to make a point here again because we kind of talked about, okay, you don't need to have 100 without, you don't need 1,000 fans, or you don't need 100 conversations. And you're asked a lot, how do I have those conversations? And you don't have them all at the same time. It's
Right.
on, again, pillar 3 on their time. And that applies to the conversations because somebody might contact you today and blah, and you reply. And then they go away for the week. And then, or this happens. And then they don't get back to it until a week or 2 or a month later. But they're still like, God, I want to get back to Joey. And I want this, and I want to further. But life happens. And then eventually they're like, okay, here. It's not a back and forth that those happen sometimes. But again, you taught me this is if I ask you a question live and I go the 21 levels deep, there's one dynamic here. But if I ask you the question and then you go eat dinner and think about it,
Yeah.
or you go and then you come back tomorrow and you're like, okay, it's ruminating all over the place. And then they answer, and then you get to ask them another question. And it's not like we're having these hour-long conversations. They're, okay, a minute or two replying, asking another question. That's interesting, cool, I like that. Tell me a little bit more about this thing and that. What's the frustration? Is it and this and just applying the questions that work for you. It's not like taking, I got to ask all these questions, because when you first gave it to me, it was like, here, just ask these questions. We didn't even do anything. And I was like figuring out my way through it. But now that we've gone through it again in Atlas this week and the whole job hunt and all the questions, it's another level of depth. It's like when I read Cash Copy 5 times, because the first time I read it, I didn't get the 10 things beneath the thing I just learned. And it's the same thing here. It's just a deeper level of getting into the whole dream client. And again, you and I, for the last 130 weeks and longer, have unpacked this stuff of that. And it just evolves so deep.
And let's talk about the jobs to be done, because that's a big piece of this. And so let's unpack the jobs to be done. So what is your description of a job to be done? Like, how do you describe it?
To me, the job to be done is the delivery of the promise to take them out of the pain.
So what is a job? Like, so give me a job for your landing page thing. What's the job of it?
The job of my landing page opt-in formula is to get your landing page to the point where it actually works and gets you opt-ins, so that you're not trying to figure it out. You're not struggling anymore. And you actually can spend the time you want now helping people who are interacting with you. and the experience that you create for them is one that draws your dream client into you. And then you can like help them and serve them and not worry about what else you're going to do because you've gotten them in successfully.
Mm-hmm. So the jobs to be done is what is your product or program being hired to do? And it's not an actual job. Like, it's not in where I was first learning this. It was like I just couldn't wrap my head around it because I thought that it was the physical thing. Well, the job of Atlas is to put together a group coaching program, and here's how to do it. And that's not what the job of Atlas is. It's not that. It's not giving you the job hunt questions. It's not showing you the dream client canvas. The job of, in this example, is to give you back time and freedom.
Yeah.
And reduce all the stress that you've had. That's the job of Atlas. How it's done is there's pieces of the components of it, but there's a bigger job that has to be done. Nobody really wants a coaching program. Like they just want to help people.
Yeah.
And have time and freedom for themselves and have a great life. That's the job of Atlas. It's not about I'm going to show you how to build a group coaching program. But that's where people get stuck. What do you have? Well, I have this group coaching program. I'm going to show you how to do this coaching program. No, I'm going to show you how to get that, which is the oasis. That's why let's go back to this again, which is the oasis. I know what the oasis is for my clients.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that is what the job to be done is. How do I get them to the oasis as fast as possible? And to give an example, outside of us, talking about our own programs, we'll just use the one that we talk about, the milkshake, right?
Yeah.
Which is, what's the job of the milkshake when people were coming into McDonald's in the morning? What's the job of people buying that milkshake? Well, the milkshake's job, I'll let you tell the story. What's the job? Do you know the story, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You've told it and I love it. The milkshake's job for the person that came in the morning on their way to work was a few things. The job was, one, to keep them occupied and busy on the long journey, whether it was by vehicle or train. The second job was to provide them some nutrition for the ride-in so that when they got to work, they were satiated and weren't grumbling stomach and grumpy. That was the job of the milkshake for that person.
Right.
And then, of course, there was a job of the milkshake for the other person, the dad, who.
This is there's two audiences, just to be clear. There's the morning audience, the people going to work buying milkshakes, and then the later afternoon audience, which was not, they were just other different people not going to work. So in this case, it was a dad. Continue.
Well, you use the example as a dad who maybe all week long the kid was like, I want this, and the dad said no. I want this, and the dad said no. And so the whole week long, the kid wanted things, and all of a sudden they're going to McDonald's, and the kid's like, can I get a milkshake? And dad's like, yeah, you get a milkshake. So dad now becomes a hero to the child and he feels good because he finally was able to say yes to something. A milkshake was easy. All the other things weren't. And so he becomes a hero. The job of that milkshake was to put the dad in a better light with his son.
Exactly.
Nothing to do with the kid wanted a milkshake.
Exactly. Yeah. Brilliantly said, man. Thank you for that. That's where this goes beyond.
Yeah.
Right. Like, what does your program actually do? And so the thinking beyond of like the actual thing it does is where it gets tricky. What is the actual thing that they're hiring you to do? And I use this other analogy. I'll give another one just for anybody listening to this, which is the roofer, right? Then your roof is leaking, and you hire a roofer. So what is the job you're hiring the roofer to do? And most people would say to stop my roof or to fix my roof, right? And that's true, but that's the thing that they're doing. What they're actually doing is solving the job that they're doing is to stop the rain from coming in and flooding your living room, like so you could live peacefully again. That's the job that you're hiring them to do, not fix a hole in my roof. The job connection is completely different than the actual banging of the hammer job that they're doing.
It always goes beneath. And that's, I think, an important point is look at it and say, is this really what the job is? And intentionally say, okay, the job of the product, the coaching program is to deliver this many things, X, Y, and Z. But actually, its job is to make your life easier.
Yeah, it's
That's
to give you back time. That's why I'm always using buy back 96% of your time, or because I'm, how many times have we used in coaching, and everybody knows this, is you ask the question, why does that matter? Why does that matter? Why does that matter? Why does that matter? Right? Because you're getting to the deeper emotion or the real truth of why you want to do the thing. So if somebody said, I want to join landing page opt-in formula, why? Because I want more opt-ins. Why?
Right.
And the more you ask that question, why, is gets you closer to what the true job of the landing page opt-in formula actually does.
Right.
It doesn't get, in my mind, I'm not sure if it really gets to the conversions. That's the thing it does, but that's not the job.
No, that's not its job.
That's not the job it really does. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree. That's not the job. The job is to free them up from the techno and all that, and trying to run ads and this and that to free them up so they can actually go what they want to do and heal people.
Yeah.
And again, that's going further, and I'm still playing with it.
Yeah,
more.
it's just digging deeper on what is the actual thing that I'm doing for them that this thing does. Because say again.
No, once I get more and deeper into it, then I'll get more and deeper into it. I can think now from a few, but it's really about, okay, it takes time to figure
this. I mean, and you're right, and you're always learning, and especially when it comes to the jobs to be done. Show the canvas again. One of the things I learned over the last 6 months of speaking to my dream clients about the job of Atlas was that it made their lives easier, but it made them calm, and they were also able to become themselves again. And that's the job. It wasn't about the coaching program. No. And the money and all that is great, but it was, I see. You want to be able to go into the world, market in a calm way, and be who you are, be yourself. And I've heard that so many times, and realizing that is part of the job. That's what this is doing for you. And that's why I'm always talking about that. And when you understand that, which is the deep desires and removing the pain, when the pain is I can't be myself, I have to be somebody else, or I have to put a mask on, I have to be like everybody else, all those are pains, So if you can remove that and talk about their true oasis, or the job, which is connected to the oasis, you're going to get people saying that this is speaking my language. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And it's not fancy copy. All it is by asking somebody, what is it that you truly want, and why does that matter? Why do you want more opt-ins?
And
why?
Joe, and they answer you, and they give you the language. Again, there's no fancy sales copy needed, required.
The landing page, the dream client canvas is what we're talking about here. Hopefully this was beneficial to you. This is the framework that I use to teach people how to get the right solution for your dream clients or whoever you're working with. If you get all these pieces right, I promise you that it'll be super, super easy for you to sell somebody, not in a bad way, but offer them something that they will want to buy from you. And it all starts with the crisis.
I like what you just said. You kind of said sell, but then you said offer them something.
Yeah.
Instead of selling, it felt just right when you said it. Now it's time to offer them something. And that is a sale, but is it? Change it. I'm offering you this opportunity, and I don't want to NLP and MLM stuff. But here's and I used that. I said, "Here's the offer." That was it. Here's the offer.
Yeah, and I'm even moving more into inviting, because that's truly what it is. I've talked about this a lot over the last couple of weeks as well. When I'm talking again, having these conversations one-on-one conversations with people about dream clients, and it's like, and they're asking like, how does it work? Like all these things that come up all the time. And I'm like, it's not about bringing just anybody in. It's actually you're curating your dream community. And that's what it is. So you're actually inviting people. You are enrolling, you are offering and stuff, but it's more of an invite. Like, you know what? I think this is a great fit because I can help you do this and we get along really well. I'd love to invite you into this thing whenever you're ready. That to me is the be all end all right there.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about. Are they right? Do you want to invite them? And will they fit the community? Because imagine if you just think about, if you're listening to this right now and you had a party going on with all your friends and somebody crashed it that was just a jerk, like that's kind of what it is if you don't have a curation process or do the dream client piece, because eventually people are going to come into your world, whether or not you're having like close relationships or not. They're just going to disrupt your world, and that's not a dream business.
Joey, I like where you're going with the invite piece because it so fits. You said forever is who would you invite to your house? Who would you invite to this? And as you said it, it was like if we were throwing a really cool party, who'd we invite? And so I like that I like that. I'm going to invite you. And it's like, oh, an invitation. Not everybody gets an invitation.
Exactly.
So I like how you're framing that.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for another amazing Tuesday on Marketing Made Easy. This is the Dream Client Canvas. Sorry, say again.
I said it's top of the hour again.
Oh, I didn't hear you because I was talking over you, but it is top of the hour. It's always top of the hour, right? No matter what time it is, it's top of the hour. We'll see you again on next Tuesday at the 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. Please give us a like or a thumbs up if you like the show. Give us if you're watching live right now, hashtag live or hashtag replay. And by the way, if you want to join us on inside our Facebook group, here is where you do this. Come inside our amazing tribe where heart-centered, amazing people are, epic conversations going on in there. It's a very safe place to be. And this is where the invite is for you. If you are a heart-centered, purpose-driven person who wants to actually change the world by working with dream clients in a way that is profound. Help them in a profound way, and they will tell others about you. We'll see you next Tuesday night.